Welcome, I am Cruz, and today I'm talking us through this replay breakdown of a tourney game between Artxerath and Tiger T20. It is from round 1 in the 5th SOVL tournament, has a 750 points list building limit unlike the usual founding points. If you don't know what SOVL is, it is a tactical miniature war game in the same spirit as Warhammer Fantasy, but with its own unique mechanics and unit dynamics. Today we are diving into a high-stakes game between two skilled players, and we will explore their army compositions, deployment choices, key plays, and turning points that shape the outcome of this game. The Goatman player at the top of the screen has a list that is all about getting flanks and getting up in the opponent's space. He has 6 out of its 8 units as ambush, giving him the ability to deploy almost up to the middle of the map. His unit hits real hard on the charge, but if they do lose a combat, they're well disciplined, making quite likely they will win. At the bottom of the screen, we can see the Ratkin player, and he has 8 long rifle units there. And each of them shoot real well against multi-one targets, and more than half of the Goatman player's units are multi, meaning that he definitely has a range advantage as to board status now. He's also running a Warlock on a Doombo with Hex, which means that in one round, he can have every single melee fighter get a reroll on this. And Hex will also ensure that one of those combats will be a win. Now, looking at the deployment, you'd think the Goatman player would use his ambush advantage to move his chariots more to the front, but he is respecting the power of those long rifles so much that he has chosen to deploy them all the way in the back, trying to hide behind the trees to avoid losing any units right here. Other than that, he has deployed his infantry towards the middle, seeking to gain control of the objective. He has even put his infantry in the trees, respecting the throwing stars on the Ratkin skulkers. The Ratkin player on the bottom has deployed in the middle, with the skulkers up front to be able to get on the objective, and has put his long rifles one on each side. Now, with the way the players have deployed, this is looking to become an all-out slugfest in the middle, with neither player controlling the objective, but maybe the Goatman chariots will get some good fights in there, popping the entire game open, or maybe the long rifles will just pick off some of the chariots, allowing the Ratkin player to swing the game into their favor with their Doombo turn and win the game. Now, if I were to judge their deployments, I think maybe the Goatman player doesn't have to be this defensive with their chariot deployment, but it just shows how much he values them. And the odds are we can probably get into charge range in round 1 anyways, especially if we can get a charge onto those riflemen. We should be very happy. Now, regarding the Ratkin player, I do think he could have benefited from just being more towards one side unit-wise. Currently, both his flanks are equally weak, his long rifles at the edges. So I think if I were to deploy, I would have put the long rifles both on one side, let's say the right side, and then put the Fearless Rats one as the vulnerable unit on the left side. This would make it more likely that he's able to pick off at least one chariot. There's even a chance he picks off 2, and maybe an entire flank that would be without fast moving mobile Goatman unit. So based on the deployments alone, I will give a slight edge to the Goatman player. Looking at the movements, we can see that the Ratkin player moves the Rat one forward, and that the Goatman player moved his mongrels forward to sort of trap the skulkers. So if you didn't know, if you move a unit close enough to an enemy unit that when they rotate, they bump into your unit, they're not able to spin around, and then in that way, pinning them down, ensuring that they can't move, and probably ensuring a flank if you need to. If the Ratkin player had put his skulkers facing sideways instead of forward, then this would have been much harder to pull off. And you can see now that the mongrels have a flank ensured on the skulkers, and all he needs to do is to move his Ibex warriors to another flank, and then the skulkers will be double charged and flanked, unable to run on the front. Instead of doing this right away though, the Goatman player instead moves his Goatman warriors forward from the back. The Ratkin player passes his turn, which is an important thing to do because you want to pass your turn and have as much information as possible when you make units. The exception, of course, is if you see one of your units can get caught, like the skulkers were in the middle. Or if you want to get an important shot off before your opponent can move a unit into combat. Now let's talk a bit about the Ibex warrior. Most of the Goatman units are not that defensible, maxing out on defense 4 on the chariot, etc. These Ibex warriors are power 5 with great weapons and defense 5, making them probably the tankiest thing you can put your commander in. And this just shows how much he values the true striking commander he has in his list, choosing to give up all the mobility of a chariot to instead have him as safe as possible and as hard-hitting as possible in this unit by Ibex warriors. Now it looks like the Goatman player is putting his Ibex warriors forward to ensure a flank on the sculptors, but also in range of the rat swarm. Now, for him having his most hard-hitting units, or at least infantry, smashing into the rat swarm is a bit well-linked, since the rat swarm only has defense 1. But maybe he is very confident that he will get a flank on the rat swarm off, which he can with units on both sides. But maybe he is very confident that he will get a flank on the rat swarm off, which he can with units on both sides. Another thing to mention is that the rat swarms aren't particularly dangerous by themselves with low skill and power 1. But if you do add poison to them, they can become quite the menace. Now let's take a look at the board state. What does it look like? The Ratkin player is trying to get his moves up to the objective in the middle. We can see the Goatman player has moved his central infantry forward, leaving his chariots to flank for later in the round, which all makes sense. So it's sort of brave of him to move his chariot up already, considering the long rifles right there. But then again, what are the actual odds of them hitting? Enough that they actually kill one of the chariots in one volley? Let's ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT says it's roughly 40% chance to get a kill off of around one round. That is a lot better than, say, with the catapult, where you have like a 7% chance to kill like Goatman chariot in one shot. Pretty crazy. Yeah. Interesting tidbit from this movie here. We saw he moved the chariot into the middle there. Now, if he gets a flank on the skulkers with his mongrels, there's a chance that the skulkers can charge back, I guess, the mongrels there. And then it's a head-on fair fight. But if he uses his chariot at front charge, he uses a flank on flank charges, suddenly there is a side flank when on. Alright, you see the Ratkin player being very careful with his Doombale positioning here, which is the right choice considering how it's the most important piece of his entire Ratkin run. If he ends up losing that one or starts fleeing, suddenly you can't get the Doombale turn up, which is a major power swing for the Ratkin player, or his spells, which are also vital to make this unlock. Now if the Doombell were to stay in a similar position next round, is there a chance, but if the Skulkers in the middle break, that the Goatman chariot behind it will actually sit and be able to side charge the Doombell? I don't think so. That is one of the things that you will see the more experienced players do, that they will take into consideration what happens if this unit breaks. What if my Empire Dreadnought tank just does the 10% chance in one way? Am I exposed to my flank then? So, because sometimes just making a small change to your movement will make that go from a complete disaster to annoyance. Nope. And we can see the long rifles do get their kill. And a follow-up flank on the next chariot. I guess the Goatman player isn't too happy right now. Alright, turn 2. Let's see how this pans out. The Goatman player has the first charge. And he chooses to get a side flank on the sculptors. Now, since the order of charges matters, I guess the only charge that has any real impact in timing would have to be the Rax 1 into the Goatman commander. And that's also what we see with the Goatman player wondering if he's charging back. It's always a consideration if you have enough power that it doesn't really change the outcome. Oh, it did that. The chariot on the side has a flank on the sculptors as well. I didn't even see that. Oh. Alright. Anyways, as I was trying to say, the Ibex Warriors on Commander versus the Rat Swarm. So if the Rat Swarm has solid defense, we can probably choose just to stay put instead of charging back. Of course, is that a better position, or would they benefit more from being further off? Okay, he skips his charges. Interesting. Alright, well, I mean, now the Goatman player can charge those. I'm just taking a time thinking about it. Oh. Interesting. They just both didn't do it. I guess this is beneficial for the Ratkin player, because now he gets more shots off against the chariot. Good stuff.
And you can see that the Ibex Warriors did choose not to charge back against the Rats one. Alright, what will happen with the spare troops? They seem to be a bit caught by the mongrels, and that rotation move confirms it. Oh, now instead of shooting, he's trying to find a way to shoot but not get shot by the long rifles, which makes sense. It is not the best feeling to just lose units to ranged. He is giving up a rear flank to be able to do some hardcore flanks. Interesting. Then again, there aren't that many things to shoot at the moment with the long rifles. That's the chariot, where he gets a couple of hits. Gets one. Ah, and he's trapped as well. Is this some sort of ploy to let the giant throw a stone onto their long rifles? Would be interesting if that was the case. It does seem to be keen on moving the giant up, back, and around. But not yet. It is interesting how now the right flank totally belongs to the Ratkin player, while the left flank is contested after that one to the shots that killed one of the chariots. And of course, the poor skulkers being wedged in the middle are very likely to die. Huh. Goatman player passed his turn. Alright. Legionnaires move forward. But not in a manner where they can flank the Mongols. Interesting. I would have at least tried to twist them so that was an option. Then again, he already has a flank from the Spearman troop there, which is 24 strong. Alright. He puts his chariot almost in a block in the way in front of the Legionnaires. I guess he just wants to restrict their movements and run away. And the second round of shots go out. He hits 3 hits, that's quite lucky, and the chariot goes down. Alright, the 2-hand weapon mongrels, which you can see on the art now after they got added. It's often easy to overlook when a unit has, say, a Banner of Mist or 2-hand weapons. Luckily, the art is one of the ways to subtly help you there. And I guess he wanted to show off the rat swarm art to us. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Alright, where are you going? Into the middle. But why? Guess he wants to get a front charge on the spearman? Guess that makes sense. Okay, the Doom Barrel moves forward. That is an interesting spot. Like, the Doom Barrel is slow, so getting closer to the chariot doesn't really matter. But he's now in range of the Longhorn and the Ibex Warriors if the Ratsworm runs, and he should be in range of the Mongols from the left if the Lurkers did end up hexing the Ibex Warriors, giving a better chance for the Ratsworm. And we see the Giant Dooth end up throwing boulders and killing one of the long rifle units. That Giant, one of the most busted units in the game at the moment. Mobile catapult with defense 6. Alright, so we look at the combat. You can see it's looking grim for the for the Skulkers. And they just get annihilated. There's no way they're coming back from this. No, not that it was likely that they would survive this anyways. And the Ibex Warrior and company hitting on 3-ups against the skill 2 Ratsworm. Ratsworm with their Frenzy, getting a lot of hits in the first round, but not as much as they take. I mean, 6-ups, it does make sense that they would suffer. But they hold. Alright. The Ratkin player has first charge. Where does he go? And because of his angling of Doom Belt, okay, he chooses that one. Interesting. Now where? Well, the Goatmen, okay, he goes for a side charge there. Guess the Doom Bell will now intercept that. Now remember, you only have one intercept per round, meaning that the order of these things can be vital. Look, and now the rats with spears can intercept the Mongols. Which is what he doesn't want to do, because then he loses the spear's main bonus, being able to fight 3 rows deep. Oh! The Legionnaires charging the chariot flees. It's all panning out rough, and this chariot also flees, which is sort of brave, I guess. Like, they don't have the highest discipline, so there is a risk they just run off the map and don't come back, even if you do get 2 chances when fleeing. Right, and the Mongols charge back. Right. Well, the Doom Bell is in a very precarious situation at the moment, but at least it pinned down the Warriors. Not exactly sure where the Warriors could have been coming, but right side. Oh, and both the chariots rally. Unlucky for the Ratkin player. Can he get any shots off other than against the Warriors? No, but he does get some, and you know, every single one of those matter. So you should not scoff at him. Oh, does he activate? He does activate the bell. All right. This makes this round his best round for fighting, and he only has 2 units in combat. So this is, I guess, well staggered by the Goatmen player, not having too many units in combat this round. And now he's probably debating, does he hex the Ibex Warriors or the Mongrels? He does end up hexing the Ibex Warriors again. He has 10 attacks with 3 rolls. Isn't the worst. That is a very exposed Doombo though. It's gonna get a lot of pain next round. Alright, long rifles. Can they get any shots in? Does seem like he's trying to find an angle where he can possibly shoot some of. He's trying not to lose movement going into the forest, maybe. Alright. He shoots the warriors and rotates so he's not in the forest, so that he will be harder to throw a bolt rat, I guess is what he's trying to do. That's one of the benefits of the long rifle unit. You can sort of peek in and out of forests using them for complete cover versus just being in the forest and being harder to hit with ranged instead. It can really be frustrating to take out those long rifles sometimes with them just peeking in and out. There we go. Optimizing. Oh, rolls of 6 against the Legionnaires, the Giant, and not only one save. Ouch. Let's see how it goes. Oh, and the Giant is able to sneak through the cracks, huh? And that is one of the benefits of having a small unit. But it seems to be tight. Maybe he will get us. Alright. I had to cut there. He was trying for over a minute. But he does end up with a good flank against the Legionnaires. Alright, coming back. Alright. 9 hits, but only 2 wounds. And the Ibex Warriors demolish the poor rats. Oh, Christ. But they do hold. That's the benefit of that unit. Ooh, good saves by the mongrels. Only 5 hits, but no saves for the spearmen. Are they going to run on the Doom build? No, they don't. I guess that's the benefit of having 24 spearmen to begin with. You still get plenty of rank bonus. Let's see how he does. A lot of hit points in the Doom though, and the most defensible units in all of Rat Kingdom. Yeah, this is okay, he does choose to do the charge there, but it's like those rats would have been gone for the rest of the game if you let that charge go through. Not the easiest to fade that we're taking so long. Alright, he ends up moving his chariot into there. And long rifles trying to. Interesting. Why are you going up there? To save your warlock? Alright. The war cry gets used. Last move really being used to the advantage for of the Goatman player. Alright, that's a good move. Gets him into side charge range. Does that first charge. Oh, I see you're gonna sneak in a chariot there? No, come on. That shouldn't be legal. But it's trying. I do not agree with moving the long rifles forward on the right flank, by the way. I think that Doom Bell is going to run off. And then you just gave up the chance of getting shots in. And those rats were going to die no matter what. Oh, they do take an Apex Warrior down with them, though. Spearman rolling subpar, very average rolls. It's a draw. And 0 hits with the Warlock. Good rolls from the Bell though, but ends up losing by 2. And that Bell has like no discipline. Yeah, it's a 4 lower and it runs off. To be expected against 2-hand weapons. Just the amount of attacks. Oh. Are the Legionnaires gonna hold? They do hold. Now, this is the best case scenario. But notice how the Ratkin player did not manage to get a toe onto the objective, and now it's just he has 100 points up on the Ratkin player already. So. And now your weak long rifles are getting double flanked. Does not look good. And we see the back charge that's to be expected into the Legionnaires. But maybe Legionnaires can do enough damage to the Giant to make the long rifles take it down next round. Yeah. Oh. Are the Ibex Warriors trapped there? Oh, he wants to get a shot off against the... Yeah, that look. You can see the line bend. This should be a shot off against the Chariot. But it's not. Which happens sometimes. It's rough when the game visual cues will sometimes bug out when it's on you like that. Hopefully, though, he didn't put himself in too bad of a position, even though he probably gets charged back. And he didn't get shots up against the Longhorn and the Ibex Warriors. Shame. Alright. And the Bell doesn't pass its save. It's a 6 or lower. It has like a 40% chance to save. Such a coward. Alright, it is looking very grim for the Ratkin player here in round 5. Especially when the Mongrel pack is saving like crazy. And the Spearmen are not doing their saves and running away. Okay. I think this is gonna be game. See how the Legionnaires do. Maybe they hold out. They are meant to take down giants like this. They do only do 2 once, but well, low rolls, 1 save. They're only down by 2, which in Ratkin terms is... Oh, they hold actually. But Ratkin Legionnaires with Hellbars, the most disciplined units of the entire Ratkin army. Unlike long rifles who run up and melee against a bunch of... What? Okay. Alright, they held. Okay, so now he has to charge. Because if not, he gets charged. So... Alright, it's round 6. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. As soon as those Spearmen fled, this game was over. Yeah, and you can see the cleanup operation has started. Ensuring a back flank on either the long rifles or the Spearmen. Some terrible rolls by the Giant, and they save as well. Good saves by the Giant though. 2 hits. Oh, they're down by 1. They're rats. There's like a 50% chance they just... and they die. Yeah. Slaughter was complete. Well, interesting game though. Like, it was hard to see exactly when and where it turned. I guess the one surprise was that the Spearmen did as poorly as they did. But then again, maybe that's where the Hex should have been to ensure they won that fight. 24 Spearmen is a sizable part of an army like that. And then the one misplay I saw, I guess, or misplay, the one flaw I saw, I guess, was just moving the long rifles forward enough. But I guess the plan was just to, be there to save the Doom Bell. I just assumed the Doom Bell was going to run no matter what. But, it had gotten both of his hexes off and the Doom Bell, so it had done its job. It was fine if it was lost. Oh, final turn. 200 points from the objective. All but one unit lost and routed. Good game, guys. Good game, guys. Now, one fun fact. Artxerath, which is playing the Goatmen player, choosing to go with goats instead of dead nations in this tournament. Even though, on the Discord he is lovingly known as What Death, because he always kept rolling his White Lord. Did you guys? Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, like and subscribe, and maybe I'll make some more. And if you want to, also check out some of the other stuff. The work guide is now 9-in-1, so, it's good. See you later.